Welcome guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to the course of TCP/IP. Today we are going to discuss about the MPLS advantages and disadvantages. Before this, and before this lecture, we have discussed about the basics of MPLS and their features. So it's time to discuss about the advantages and disadvantages. So let's start the advantages, guys. Very first, what we know that the MPLS multi-port label switching is much faster than the traditional IP routing because the IP routing is based on the routing table, whereas the MPLS is based on what the labels. So lookup is what very faster than the IP routing, and the device concept of the label to allow the forwarding rather than switching of the packet much faster and without overloading the CPU. So here there is no involvement of CPU only because what in case of the IP routing, what we have to do, we have to consider and we have to understand that the header format of IP protocol. But here, if you talked about MPLS, so we need not to refer all the fields of this IP header format. So here, the time required to analyze that all the fields by the CPU is going to be more. In that sense, the MPLS is very faster because MPLS is work on the labels rather than the IP route or IP data, what we can say the data structure protocol. Then MPLS itself does not provide the encryption, but it is virtual private network and such as it is partitions off from the public internet. So here directly it is not supported by the encryption by the MPLS, but it is going to be a kind of segregations of the or partitions of the internet into the different forms so that the small network can be uh, maintained very well. Therefore, the MPLS is considered to be secure transport mode and it is not vulnerable to denial of service attack, which might impact the pure IP-based networks. And this is what MPLS is what the single technique which encapsulate all type of packet in one format. Prior to MPLS, what we have discussed in first lecture, guys, there were multiple IP encapsulations technologies were available, ATM, IP, IPX. But that time a different type of routing algorithms and different type of routing mechanisms required, but here we have combined all this encapsulation into the single protocol, a single mechanism, and that is what the MPLS. But this is what the single technology which encapsulates all types of packets format, where the use of one unified network infrastructure, the better IP over the ATM integration, border BGP free core, then peer-to-peer model for the MPLS VPN, optimal traffic flow, and traffic engineering. So any kind of packets, whether it is IP, IPX, small talk, all types of packet format can be accommodated into single encapsulation technology of the MPLS. This MPLS is also scalable. MPLS is very scalable when compared to the other option. We can potentially scale MPLS to 100 of different sites because it depends upon what customer cannot do the MPLS at the customer end, but in between the MPLS is going to be done. It can extend up to 100 of different sites. This is what the reliable MPLS has been reliable technology for the over a decade. It has served various enterprise for more than 2 decades now. So any private enterprises or any small enterprise or big enterprises using the MPLS technology because they don't want to rely on the ISP, they want to rely on their own infrastructure, and that own infrastructure is what the MPLS technology through which the IP datagram can through. Okay. So apart from this, what we have another advantages, guys. So let's take that advantage. Amazing quality. Amazing quality. MPLS comes with the quality of services options. We can use this with the over VoIP to increase efficiency. Then we know, guys, that VoIP, voice over IP, this is what the trending today. Everybody's want the VoIP very what we can say delay proof. Nobody wants to have some kind of latency, etc. So for that purpose, if we have a private network, so bandwidth will be dedicated. If the bandwidth is dedicated, the service can be more and the speed can be more and the quality of the service is going to be more again, because we need not to depend upon the other infrastructure, other service providers. So we have our own infrastructure. That sense, the quality of service will be improved. The remote connection. The best thing about the MPLS is what you can add new remote connections without buying any new hardware. So whatever the infrastructure is available with us and the setup is available with us with the of the MPLS, in that we can add the remote connections, more remote connections. It is improved uptime. So it is what we can say the MPLS provide various alternative network paths to request. Thus, the uptime of our network will be automatically improved. and always everybody want the uptime of the my network or our network to be up, because if it is going to be a down, so that no one can rely. But this time the uptime of this particular MPLS technology will be always up. Lower traffic congestion. If you are using the old frame relay network, then you must suffer from the high traffic congestion. But here the MPLS divide the request in the various network path. Thus, it helps to avoiding the high traffic congestion. So if we send this message from the one single path, so definitely there will be a congestion. But MPLS technology, what it referred on the different path. It referred the different path. So here level will be different, level will be different, level will be different, as we have discussed in the operation field of this architecture field of the previous lecture. So here there were so many paths are available. So there is no any overhead on the single path. So that's why the low traffic congestion is available over here. Then better end user experience. MPLS helps to improve the end user experience. You can choose from the different types of services like a VoIP. Thus, the end user will have the better experience, because ultimately what the customers is what the satisfaction, the speed, the quality of services, the reliability, the scalability. On that basis of what the customer can satisfy, so better end user experience. This is what the advantage is. Lower cost. Uh, you can use it to share your network resources. MPLS allows you to private route your customer data. It has all the cost advantages like any other three public internet services. Like let's say MPLS also better security when compared to the other technology. Thus, this is it is a preferred for deploying large scale network services. You can deploy large scale services at very low cost. So moreover, we can say is what extra hardware is not going to be need to be purchased. Security is not additionally to be enforced. So everything is what the combo pack is available with that MPLS technology. That's why this is what in lower cost, guys. Because additionally, let's say if we allow the private route for our data, so every enterprises is going to be want that data to be secure. So they need not to be, or don't trust on the other service providers. So they want to create their own channel of data transfer. So that time it is what again very beneficial for their purposes. That's why it is lower cost in nature. Apart from this, what we have the traffic routing. This is what one of the best feature of MPLS. MPLS works by adding label on data packets when they are leaving the customer network. In normal technology, the network will be read the IP header information to read its element. So here, as I told earlier, the MPLS is works on the labels. MPLS works on what the label. There is what the format of the label as well. This is what the 20-bit long label. There are different labels numbers are there. So rather than seeing that particular data structure, that is what routing table, so it looks at what the labels directly, and which is what the faster. So traffic routing is going to be very faster in this MPLS technology. Service level agreement, that is what SLAs. MPLS services are delivered with the service level agreements or the SLAs. These SLAs contain various points like guaranteed delivery. We won't get these features with the other alternatives like broadband or the Ethernet. So on the broadband or Ethernet, we don't have any guaranteed delivery services. But here in MPLS, what we have the guaranteed delivery services. That's why this is what the service level agreement is going to be available. Then increase bandwidth. MPLS divide the traffic into various networks. Thus, the bandwidth of the our network will automatically increase. We can traverse through the whole network in very little time. So it is what the very beneficial. Then interconnectivity group. The MPLS can connect all our networks without buying new hardware. That we have discussed earlier, that extra hardware cost is going to be reduced. It has reduced. So here the MPLS requires a minimum amount of hardware to connect all our networks. So this is what interconnectivity growth. So it is what again a scalable networks. So moreover, we can say the MPLS is what good for the so many of reasons. So these are the reasons we have discussed the advantages. So let's talk about the disadvantages, guys. On the negative side, the MPLS is secure. The MPLS is secure that must be purchased from the carrier and is far more expensive than the sending traffic over the public network. Because what if we use the already available setup with the, let's say, ISP or public internet, the cost will be definitely low. But if you are wanted to establish our own setup, so definitely the cost will be more. So, but vice versa, technology is good. So in that sense, it is what the expensive one, we can see. As compared expand into the new market, they may find it's difficult to find MPLS service provider who can deliver global coverage because it is what restricted for the areas. Typically, service provider piece together global coverage through partnership with the other services provider, which can be costly. So, as we know, guys, the internet nowadays is worldwide. And but if you want to set up the MPLS technology, MPLS is what the customer specific and the vendor specific. They vendor, but if every vendor connected together, that will be what called as what the ISP and let's say internet. But MPLS is what the vendor specific. They never merge other technologies. They never merge for the other vendors. So in that sense, this is what the disadvantage is. But moreover, we can see this is what the one organization can effectively use this services, guys. And MPLS was designed in the era when the branch office sent traffic back to the main headquarters or the data center, not for today's world where branch office works want direct access to the cloud. So here, where is what the one drawback of this MPLS is regarding with the cloud. Directly, cloud access is not available. If the MPLS fails, waiting time is more. Okay, this is what the reason. MPLS is optimized for the point-to-point connectivity only. They are not preferred for the cloud. So it is not preferred for the cloud. We can't directly access our, let's say, any service, software as a service or the cloud application with the MPLS technology. There are very few cloud services in the market that provide these services, but we have to pay heavy price to get the services. What the next disadvantage of the MPLS is MPLS is not work directly on the cloud services. So if we want to take the cloud services directly, it is not that much possible. It is not that much easier, I can say. It's possible that, but that is not easier. So, but nowadays the integration is available with that cloud and our own MPLS technology. So everything nowadays it is possible. Moreover, that. Apart from this, what we have, if our office are situated at different countries, if our office is situated at different countries or states, MPLS will take a long time to adopt. It can even take more than 6 months to connect all our offices. Yes, definitely it will be there because setup cost will be setup time will be more. So we are talking about, let's say, state and different countries. So definitely, if our offices are situated at different location, geographical areas, so definitely it will take a time to set up their uh, own MPLS technology, home, home our own MPLS architecture. Then, apart from this, MPLS is also required WAN optimization for streamline the delivery. This will add extra cost on top of the old cost. So this is what additional cost. It is what support from the additional cost, the WAN technology, because ultimately what we have to do, we have to refer to the WAN technologies. Then MPLS is also expensive when compared to the options like Ethernet, but it is still cost less than the technology like T1 lines. Then it worst things about MPLS is that we won't have complete control over our network. Our service provider will configure all the network. uh, we will only help our provider in dynamic routing. That is, MPLS is not at the customer end. As we know, guys, the MPLS is not going to be maintained at the customer side. It is going to be maintained at the ISP side, and it in between network. So this is going to be extra overhead on that particular manners. So these are the disadvantages, guys. But moreover, we can say the MPLS technology is good. That is, instead of looking at particular routing tables, what we are looking, we are taking the decision on the basis of the labels. So this technology is going to be very faster and everything is going to be smooth. I hope, guys, this is okay with you. After that, we are going to discuss about the working and the modes of the MPLS technology. Before that, we have discussed the basics of the MPLS technology. Thank you so much.